Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to another fantastic day of online learning. I hope that you and your families remain well during these challenging times. Just one final push before hopefully you'll be having a nice and relaxing weekend to recharge those batteries. So on your screen right now is the task that was set yesterday with regards to our workbook. I did have a couple more emails from you guys just over access to that workbook. So if you have been unable to get a usable copy of that workbook, whether it be a SharePoint version, a Microsoft Office electronic version, or you've been able to print off a copy of the workbook, please do contact me and we'll arrange a usable workbook for you. Alrighty, so just a little bit more detail on mass and niche marketing. So mass marketing is selling to the masses. So as part of this, products tend to be standardized. They're not differentiated for different types of customers. It's a bit of a one size fits all type of product. And to this end, in mass markets, uh, different producers often compete on price. Niche markets on the other side of the coin, these are much more specialized, and customers have a unique set of needs, and firms tend to compete more so on the quality of their products because the products are being used for a more specialized purpose. We've got a couple of examples there, that being shoes that you can buy at the warehouse, which tend to be mass marketed because people are using such shoes for much more generalized purposes. Whilst on the other side of the coin, we've got Sportivas, mountaineering boots, which obviously have a much more specialized use. So whilst you might be able to attempt to go mountaineering in your warehouse hiking boots, it would probably not be too wise. Mountaineering is obviously a very hazardous leisure pursuit, and to that end, you're much more likely as a mountaineer to go into that niche market where you're getting specialized hiking and mountaineering boots. And to that end, niche marketeers will be looking to target those qualities of people who are mountaineers as opposed to your Joe Blogs, Mr. Horrocks type individuals who might just be wanting to acquire some hiking boots to go wandering around in the Waitakere ranges, providing they're not off limits due to Kodi dieback. So our niche markets have products that tend to be of a higher quality, a more specialized usage, and that's reflected in these higher prices that are charged for them, whilst our mass marketed products tend to be of a lower quality or less specific quality, and given the wide usage of their products, consumers are much more sensitive to the price that they pay. So our advantages and disadvantages. Our advantages of each. So for niche marketing, because there's a smaller set of customers that businesses are targeting, firms are able to build deeper and stronger customer relationships because their marketing, their advertising is going to be more specific to the customers in that niche market. Whilst on the other hand, in mass marketing, the business is trying to communicate with a whole range of different customers. So those customers aren't going to feel that sort of specialized, unique, tailored communication from the business. They're probably not going to get that warm fuzzies that the business seems to know who they are and exactly what they need their product for. In a niche market, there's reduced competition. There's reduced competition because there are fewer firms who are targeting that niche market. Now, that niche market has less customers, so there is logically going to be less firms targeting that smaller amount of customers because of the lesser opportunity for sales, which is going to flow through to likely lesser achievable profits in that niche market. So with fewer firms competing for sales in a niche market, there's what we call reduced competition. With our niche markets, they're often able to get in front of their target customers better because they're able to use specialized marketing channels. So if I'm going back to my mountaineering example, that niche market there, I might be looking to advertise my mountaineering boots in a mountaineering magazine, or I might be looking to target my my mountaineering boots through a mountaineering hobby society. So I can get right in front of those target customers. Word of mouth. So because there are fewer people within a target market, and the fact that these customers have a unique and overlapping trait, the fact that a business is able to sell to one of these customers in a niche market, it's quite likely that that customer is going to tell others within the niche market. So in our mountaineering niche market, if we've got a person who's bought a pair of mountaineering boots and they absolutely love them, they're no doubt going to tell some of their mountaineering friends that, hey, this is a good product. And that's word of mouth. And it's the word of mouth is referring to customers or potential customers talking about a business here. The business becomes an expert in their niche market because they're focusing their resources on the needs of this niche market. They become much more informed and much more capable at meeting the needs of these unique customers. Less resources required? Absolutely, because you're targeting less potential customers. You don't need to project your message as widely. You can target it very much to the areas where you believe your niche market is going to be socializing or receptive to hearing information. So for my mountaineering niche market, I'm unlikely to be putting an ad on primetime television, which sure, it might reach people within the niche market, but it's going to cost me a lot of money, and lots of people who are not in my niche market are going to hear the message. It'd be much better for me to use less resources and go through one of those channels where I believe my niche market is going to be receptive to the message, such as a mountaineering magazine. Finally, employees are able to be more creative with their niche market, and that's because they know more clearly who their customer is likely to be, and they're able to create marketing which is going to really appeal to those unique qualities of the market. If we were thinking about marketing to many, many different people, it's probably unlikely that a marketeer or a marketing department is going to create jokes that are very specific to only few people, because it's going to be a bit of a turn off to those people in the mass market if they are getting marketing that's not really tailored to them. So in a mass market campaign, you've got to be very generalized with your messaging so that more people are receptive to it. Whilst in a niche market, you can have a bit more fun and create some of those in-joke type marketing, maybe make jokes about things that only the niche market is going to be aware of. So perhaps in terms of mountaineering, it might be some unique joke about what it's like to be at the top of a mountain. Now, for the majority of people who might be looking to buy your average hiking boots, they're not going to be at the top of mountains where there's low oxygen and there's going to be ice and pickaxes and everything. So that would be a bit of a waste of time and energy. But for our niche market, they know exactly what you're talking about when you're making jokes about being at the top of a mountain rather. Advantages of mass marketing. Well, because you're targeting more people, there's a greater likelihood for higher sales. There are more potential customers. Now, economies of scale. What this is referring to that as you produce larger volumes, your average costs per unit start to fall. And that's because you can start to buy raw materials in greater volumes and you're able to go to your suppliers, hey, I'm buying a large amount of inputs from you. Can you give me a sharper price? Additionally, the low product variability. So what we mean is you're producing lots of a similar or the same product. It means you can spread out your design costs over more units. Whilst for a niche market, you're creating fewer products and you're going to be adapting them to the different needs of the niche more often. So you're doing more design work per the amount of goods. Marketing strategies, because they target more people, you're more likely to result in a greater volume of sales. So while some parts of the mass market might not be receptive to your messaging, it's probably going to resonate with at least a portion of that greater amount of people. So because you're targeting more people, your marketing costs per good that you sell are likely to be lower. So whilst you might need to do that ad, that television ad on primetime TV, because you're selling more products, that cost is actually spread out over those products. So there's less marketing costs per product. Finally, you're less exposed to changing consumer tastes. If you're targeting a very broad and diverse range of people, a change in some of those people's tastes and interests is likely not to result in a massive change in your sales, or is not likely to render your marketing ineffective, because it's unlikely that a majority of your mass market is going to have changed consumer tastes. So we've got a couple of links down there, gentlemen, if you want to do a bit more exploration on this. That'll be next week. And your activity for today, gentlemen. Your activity for today is to complete task 1, H to K, on page 3 of the workbook. So to reiterate my message from earlier on, if you're having any issues with accessing the workbook, absolutely reach out to me and I'll look to make a copy of the workbook individual to you and share it. Well, gentlemen, if you have any questions with today's class or any of the content from prior in the year, because this is a great time to be catching up on areas of the course that you might have struggled with earlier on, please absolutely do email me at t.horrocks@ags.school.nz. All the best with today's work, guys. One final push, and then hopefully you'll be able to have a nice and relaxing weekend with your whānau. Kia kaha.